Hi, Courtney here of Creations by Courtney, the place where you'll find size-inclusive garment patterns, accessories, as well as tutorials, so I can help the modern crocheter curate the handmade closet. So this time, we're going to make the Marielle stitch in the round. And what's so fun about this pattern is that really not a lot changes in working from the flat to the round. And I didn't share in the last video the multiples needed, but that's okay because I want you to just practice along with me. And if you want to know the stitch multiple, definitely hop over to the blog post. It'll be coming soon, so bear with me. Make a slip stitch and place it on your hook. Again, I'm just using some worsted weight yarn for my stash and a Furls Crochet Odyssey hook in a size I. If you want the laciness of the stitch to really open up, you can definitely go up in hook size, larger than what's recommended on the ball band. All right, so we're going to chain 20. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Now, we're going to be making it like this. What do you think? I think that's a bit small. So let's go up to 28. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so let's make sure that we have 28 because let's see. Yeah, that's a much better ring size to work with. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Wonderful. So let's make sure it's untwisted. Fold it over. I like to fold it so that the back bump is showing. Move the yarn tail out of the way. Slip stitch to join. And so I always like to start with this first one because I'm sure I'm not the only one. When you make a ring, you'll lose a stitch, and that's the worst. Okay, so if you watched the first video, we're pretty much doing the same thing, except we're not skipping 6 stitches. So for this first round, I'll do it with chain stitches, and for the next rounds, I'll do a chainless starting double crochet. Well, actually, let me go ahead and show you what that looks like if you're ever starting with a chain. So again, you pull up that loop, you're going to yarn over or wrap it around the hook, hold it in place, insert your hook into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and it helps to tug it a little bit to adjust it, and then yarn over and pull through 2, and that's a chainless starting double crochet. So we are now going to skip 3 again, just like the last one, and we're going to start the first repeat, which is 2 treble. So that's 1, and now this is the second treble. Chain 2 and double crochet, all in the same stitch. So we have to start. And so personally, I like the chainless starting double crochet because it just adds a little bit of girth to it instead of just a chain. So now we're going to continue with the repeat. We're going to skip 3, and in the next stitch we're going to make 2 treble, chain 2, double crochet. Don't forget to do that chain 2. So we're going to need it for the next round. And we're just going to continue to repeat this around. And again, if your chains stretch a bit, make sure you're counting that back bump so that you insert your hook into the right stitch. Because if you skip too many or don't skip enough, it will definitely lead to frogging. You'll have to go back and find where you missed a stitch or added a stitch in order to make sure that the repeat works out evenly. All right, and we're just going to continue. So again, it pulls a little bit, just tug it. I'll bring it in closer so you can see. So that's 1, 2, 3, working to the next one. And this is part of why we do a treble stitch, because it's taller and it has enough height to stretch. Now, if you see here, this loop is a little looser. If you're like me, it's like, ugh, let's fix it. So you want to hold your loops in place, right? Insert your hook. Keep your loops close to the top of your work, or in this case, the chain. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then you get those loops a little more even. And we'll just keep going until we make it around, because you're going to work until you have a few stitches at the end. There we go. 3, working into the next one, 2 treble, chain 2, double crochet, and then the next repeat. Again, if you need to, pull it a little bit so you can clearly count the back bumps. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work here. So with here, we have 2 stitches remaining, just like when we're working in turned rows. So that's 1 treble, and now 2 treble, chain 2, double crochet. You're like, okay, Courtney, like, you're at the end. What are you gonna do? All right, so let me take the hook out so we can see what we have so far. So we have our repeats. We have this gap, right? And that's why this stitch is so fun, because it's like, really, there's no change in the multiple when working flat or in the round. Now, if you want to work with foundation stitches, the multiple technically is the same, but you have to, you know, do the plus. All right, so this is the fun part, or at least I think it's fun. So as you see, we have 2 stitches left. We're gonna go actually work right back into this first one. And really, this first one and this one, they count. Wait, I wonder if I skipped a stitch, like I was telling you not to miss one. That's what I did. Don't do what I did and skip too many in the beginning. That's okay. We're gonna make it work. We are gonna make it work. So you're going to make your treble in the first stitch. Okay, so let me show you again. So this is the first stitch after we joined, right? We're going to work in that same one. Same space. So insert your hook right where you did your chain 3, where your chainless starting double crochet. We're going to make 2 treble. And then chain 2. And now, if you want to tug it down just a little bit, and now slip stitch either to the top of your chain 3 or the top of the chainless starting double crochet. And there you go. You have 1 round. And so, to continue, we're going to turn our work. Again, you could turn it clockwise or counterclockwise, whatever your preference is. If I turn mine that way, I do like to turn my loop around on the hook. So again, this time we can do a chain 3. So you know what that looks like so. And just like before, we want to go in the opposite direction in order to maintain the stitch pattern. So, well, actually, I take that back. We're not going to start with a double crochet. We're actually going to start with a treble. So when working flat, we end with a treble stitch. And so when we're working in the round, we're actually going to start with that treble in order to maintain. Now, if you're not familiar, so typically we chain 4, like so for the treble. But I've been practicing, and I can also do a chainless starting treble. So again, you're going to pull that loop a little bit taller than what the stitch would normally be and wrap it around the hook twice. So it's going to be tight, but that's okay. And it's a little fiddly, but you can put your hook right through that space. Again, it's going to be tight. Yarn over, pull up that loop. Technically you have your 4, yarn over, pull through 2, tug it a little bit, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's the first one. And if you don't like the look of that, here's another option. Since we're working in the chain 2 space, the other option, and this isn't in the pattern, but really, you know, those are experience. We kind of do our own thing, right? Especially if you've been crocheting for a while. So you can just slip stitch through just one of the loops, the front or the back, and then you could do your chain 4, or you can do your chainless starting treble. So yarn over twice, and since you're working in the chain 2 space, just go under through that space, pull up your loop, and finish your treble as normal. Okay, and then make your second treble. Chain 2 and double crochet. And so we have our first repeat. And now we're just going to do the same all the way around. 2 treble, chain 2, and double crochet. So again, continue to work into the chain 2 space. Two treble, chain 2, double crochet. So when you come around to the last chain 2 space, we're just going to slip stitch to the top of that first stitch, which in my case is a chainless starting treble, or if you did a chain 4, just slip stitch to that chain, to the 4th chain of the chain 4. And there we have it. That's 2 rounds. Look at it, so pretty. Again, I don't like seaming, so I come up with ways to reduce seaming. And so we'll just repeat row 2 all the way around. So when you turn, again, put your yarn where you like it. You can slip stitch in that first stitch. All right, that way you can start in that chain 2 space. If you need to, tighten it a bit. Again, that chainless starting treble is really easy when working into the space rather than into a stitch. But we're just going to repeat that last row. You start with a chain 4 or a chainless starting treble. And then you make your second treble in the same chain 2 space, chain 2, and double crochet. And just repeat around, working in the chain 2 space. And when you come back around, it's the same after you make that last repeat. Again, sometimes you have to twist that starting, chainless starting stitch just a bit so you can find the top of it. And there you go. That is the Marielle stitch in the round. So this is what is featured in the hat, which is available in child, teen, adult, and adult large sizes. There we go. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, definitely leave a comment and I'll follow up. Happy stitching!